Yeah.
I'm going to call this meeting back to order. May I have approval of minutes for executive session September 20th, 2022 and October 17th, 2022?
Second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Tino? Yes. Mrs. Gill?
Yes.
Ms. Lipscomb?
Abstain.
Mr. O'Donnell?
Abstain on the 20th.
20th, yeah, abstain on September 20th, yes for October 17th.
Mrs. Reese?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs.
Can I-
Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Marks?
Yes.
And I'm yes for October 17th. I didn't catch that date. But abstain on September 20th.
So you two.
May I have a motion for board minutes for special meeting September 20th, 2022 and regular meeting October 17th, 2022?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Tino? Yes. Mrs. Gill?
Yes.
Ms. Lipscomb?
Abstain on September 20th and yes for October 17th.
Mrs. O'Donnell?
Give me a second, please. I was at the September 20th meeting,
You were at
which
this
is the
one.
one we were talking
Yes.
about. So yes on both.
I do your yes on both on the one before.
Actually, the special meeting should be the 21st, September 21st.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, because this is a Tuesday, yeah.
Yes, okay, so yes on both.
Mrs. Reese?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Marks?
Yes. Mr. Bildo? Turn over to you for a minute.
Okay, I guess prior to public comments on agenda items, I do have some changes to this evening's agenda. I do also have a few items that I'd like to just put in under new business, Mr. Long.
It's fine.
Is that fine?
Just announce them there.
So under 6.4A, field trips, we had as the attachment, which was brought to my attention today, thank you, Mrs. Gilch. We had one location mentioned, but we gave addresses for the other two. So the addresses for 525 Arch Street is the Philadelphia Convention Center,
It's not Constitution Center.
Constitution Center. Thank you.
Sorry, I looked it up.
All right, what's at 222 North 20th Street?
The
then?
Franklin
The Franklin
Institute.
Institute. Thank you, Mrs. Gilch. My apologies. The future agendas will include the name and address of where our students are going. Under 6.6I, the edit on the attachment, the very last row, please put a line through employee 5457. That is an error. 5457 is listed two rows ahead above. What number should be on the last row is employee number 4821. So on the bottom row, it should be employee 4821. Under new business, I guess we could call this 9.
So can I just, quick question about that. Is the rest of what's in that box under 5457 at the bottom line correct? It's just the numbers wrong?
The number's wrong, the employee's wrong.
Got it.
Yep, everything else is correct. Yes, thank you, Mr. Wilson. Under 9.0 new business, there are 3 items. First is to 9.0A, approve John Bilodeau to be the acting business administrator effective December 1st. And until the interim business administrator can commence their work. Under 9.0, I guess we could call this B, is to approve Kathy Forsyth as interim business administrator at a rate of $62.50 per hour. It is effective December 1st and is subject to Mrs. Forsythe completing all required paperwork and receiving the county office approval to be the interim. And 9.0C would be to approve Jean Grubb as an interim business administrator. It would be at a rate of $62.50 per hour. It is effective December 1st, 2022, and again, is subject to all required paperwork, fingerprinting, and county office approvals prior to them beginning. Is there any questions on those three items?
Yes, John, I believe you
Yes, sir.
said 9B. I think you said accidentally said Kathy Forsythe as interim BA, but I think you meant interim assistant BA.
No, I did
They're
not.
both BAs.
No,
They're
They're
both
both
BAs.
BAs.
Oh.
Yep,
We have requirements.
Oh, all right.
yep. They're gonna be equivalent to their
misunderstood
stature. Nope, thanks. It's a good question. Any questions? And with that said,
No, you do a public comment for agenda as well.
okay,
Can I go back to this?
And then go back to this report.
so I guess,
We'll come back to that.
To go back to 4.3.
so I'm gonna put it back to you, Mr. Marks, and you'd be at public comments on agenda items.
Thank you. This time I'll open up the public comments for agenda items only. Yes,
In 6.6. Awesome. And it was a donation. From my understanding previously, we were told we couldn't replace our playground at Choose. Even if the FSA raised money for it, that means that we could raise money for a playground.
Ms. Bildo, can you help that?
I think that the answer to that question would be that any
Or
particular-
any school, or any school.
there's not really a singular path to ask the Board of Education to install playground. This is a very unique one that was presented by a parent from James W. Lively School, and I had written the board over what the basis of it was. I can approve them, but I can certainly let the Board of Education vote upon that. So
the
if
board-
the answer to your question is if Choose or any school was trying to put a playground in, I think the first thing would be to seek permission to do so.
Okay. And then it also states that the district would have to ensure the necessary improvements. So is that happening this year? Or where's the money coming from?
It's donated from a singular parent out of the Lilly community in honor of his deceased wife.
The board,
No,
yeah.
she's not- she's
Oh,
talking.
is it-
What?
Yeah, Keith.
She means
We got you.
the necessary.
I'm sorry.
improvements.
It says to be further resolved that the board approve at the district's
Yep.
expense the necessary improvements to the grounds at James Lilly Elementary for the playground installation project.
It does.
So where are those funds coming from?
They would be coming from the district facility department.
So then they're like, are you pulling money somewhere else to make sure that the grounds are suitable for a playground?
Well, there are budgetary funds in the district's maintenance and grounds accounts. I don't know if they've been expended. I would imagine by November they are not. And if the board were to approve this, I would certainly ask Mr. Kumar, does he have those funds? We don't know the extent of what we would need, but I certainly, if the board was in favor of a playground, didn't want to put a nice playground and then have it on hard surface or something that wasn't safe. And so I was just trying to think ahead that maybe we should do the groundwork before we put the donation on.
So then this is not approved yet.
No, it's not. It's in front of the board for approval.
Okay.
That's why it's on the agenda.
So this came to the board to you for for a playground, for a donation.
Yes,
And then you then went to the board and say, hey, this is an awesome thing, what do you think?
I don't know what adjective I used. I would say that it was a heartfelt reason that had never been presented to this district before. This was a resident mom who lost her battle with an affliction. And the parent explained to me, the surviving parent, the dad, explained to me what he wanted to do in memoriam of his wife. I didn't want to necessarily say no to him, so I wrote the board about his offer. And then I indicated to the board I would put it on the agenda since I didn't have the authority to do, to just say yes.
Understood. Last thing, real quick, I see that we.
Mrs. Hendry, can I ask anybody else to have any public comments? I will circle back to you. Do I have any other comments? Yes.
Patty McBride, also Township Education Association. On attachment 66G, there are several positions that are being asked to be approved. They refer to as chance, head girls basketball coach, head girls assistant basketball coach, etc., all the way down. There, I think the word chance needs to be removed. That's not a chance position, that's an interscholastic athletic position.
Miss McBride is correct. I think that's inadvertently.
So make the amendment on your report. When
Okay.
it's time for your report, make the amendment.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Thank you. Any other public comments? Ms. Hendry, I'll go back to you.
One more question. So I see that you, the district was found a assistant, business administrator, which is awesome. I also see that salary is going to be $100,000. And because I had an abundance of free time between meetings, I looked and I saw that the current person that was in that position was making $94,000, $395,000 a year. And so now this person is making about 100 G's. And does this person have more qualifications than the person that was leaving that role? Or, I mean, I just want to make sure that you're
Tread very lightly.
and gender equality, because why wouldn't then this person get $100,000?
I think you could tread very lightly on qualifications, but if you want to talk generally, we can go.
The candidate on the agenda this evening met all the qualifications from the district's posting. And I believe that the rate of pay that was determined and is recommended this evening is commensurate with his experience.
Okay.
And that's about as far as I can go.
That's as far as you can go. Yeah.
I like this answer. So where is the remaining money coming from to make up the difference?
There'll be transfers from somewhere in the business office to cover it. I mean, if you had mentioned the previous assistant, that person hasn't been in that role. So that line item has been dormant for a couple months. So there may be sufficient funds for the balance of the year on a pro rata basis. I would have to take a look at the mathematics, but that would be where it's coming from.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
At this time, we'll move on to reporter solicitor, Mr. Long.
Thank you, Mr. Marks. My items were discussed during our executive session at 6 p.m.
This time, we'll move on to reporter superintendent, Mr. Bilodeau.
Thank you. I just wanted to, Mrs. Gilch, could you do me a favor, please, and open that box? It's a little bit of show and tell, and since some people didn't get like a piece of the blue ribbon ceremony, I thought I would let Mrs. Gilch demonstrate the plaque that the only school in South Jersey receiving was Glendora Elementary School.
Which is my
Um,
home school, and I felt that I should.
I
have been
wanna
invited as a
thank-
board member.
I want to thank the Board of Education for allowing not only the principal, Mr. McCarthy, but Nancy Baumley, an excellent fifth grade teacher from Glendora, and myself to attend in Washington a couple weeks ago. It was a fantastic day to see and to interact with schools from around the country. New Jersey again had 9, 8 of them from the north and 1 from South Jersey. And so we were going to go up on stage, and we decided that it would be fitting, Mr. McCarthy and I realized that Ms. Baumley should be the one that received and held the plaque in the picture. So it was really great. So again, I thank the Board of Education. This was stolen / borrowed from Glendora, which is going to proudly display that. His neat last Friday, Mr. Marks, I was with the county roundtable of superintendents, and I brought that show and tell. And we were in the Voorhees boardroom, and they had their huge 2003 blue ribbon school. So people are very proud when they get it by year of, and we have some things that we're gonna dress up Glendora School. So I appreciate the.
That would be awesome.
So that's,
Glad I got to see that before this.
Oh, this
Um,
goes to my living room?
no, this
We
is.
we order a replica
You'll
for.
get it for me?
Actually, this is a knockoff. We thought you dropped it. We have the real one at home. So with that said, I'd like to approve items 6.2A through 6.6 M. I'd also, if there's no other new business, like to approve can we approve all every item in the new business, or is that just separate?
Wait till the new business.
Wait for new
But you
business.
also have the
Mrs.
amendment from Mrs.
Ms. McBride said, so what was that?
Champs.
The champs, we will just, on that one attachment where it lists all those staff members, that is correct. They are co-curricular positions from the contract, not champs. So as amended, 6.2A through 6.6.
And 6.4.
Know why I was including that all as amended, but you're right. That was one of the things that I read in.
Amended the amendment.
Understood.
Okay, so 6.2A through 6.6M as in Mary.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved as amended.
Second.
Any questions?
I do. First, I want to thank you for changing the address with the name. 6.6E, professional development. There are catching up your English language learners who've fallen behind. I know we just kind of talked about that. Where are both of these ladies? What schools are they in? So it'll be turnkey to everyone? Well, yeah, I guess Beth can answer, can she?
Mrs. Morgan, welcome. Can you answer that for me?
Both of them are, one is St. Louis, one is in Philly. However, that workshop actually has been canceled. Just found out.
One time.
It was
Oh,
canceled?
Yeah, I don't stay with the yeah, so it's different people.
Okay.
So we do that.
So now, we have to amend that or no?
No,
So move.
we don't have to. Just leave it. You can pass it.
And then I have another question on building within cultivating well-being and emotional resilience in educators. Can someone enlighten me on that? 6.6E. Who was that?
I'm not certain, Maria Mazzio.
Was Tim now?
reading her narrative because she was asking for, but I can't off the top of my head. because
We would have to research it. and
All right,
pass it to
just
Mrs.
let me
Gilch.
know when you can. I was just curious. 6.6G, family counseling coaches at Mullen. What might that be?
I did ask that question. I don't know if Mr. Mercado is here. But Mr. Hildebrand is a supervisor of student special services. he did apply for a grant or has access to grant funding, Mrs. Gilch, and he had developed some things for the schools, and so he had posted this, and this is the only one of the staff members who responded
Okay.
to it. So
Right.
it is something new, and it's driven by a grant opportunity that I don't think is a recurring grant opportunity.
Okay. Also, on 6.6G, I noticed there's no assistant boys basketball coach for Lewis. Will we continue to post until someone does, or what will happen if they don't have an assistant with a coach, with a team like that?
Okay, well, you had more than one question, so yes, we will continue to post. And if we don't have a current staff member here from Gloucester Township Public Schools, we will look to the outside, as long as that person, typically it's another educator. And by illustration, we do have someone that we are going to have help with one of our athletic teams, who's actually an employee of Black Horse Pike, and is been fingerprinted and such. So that's
That's
one
for
of the
another-
pathways.
okay.
Failing that, you can continue to put it in newspapers.
I just feel like they need an assistant with the traveling boys basketball.
I
just feel
totally
like-
agree with you. Yep.
Okay.
There's a lot of numbers in wrestling. And I
It's
think that,
basketball. This is basketball.
well, there's a lot of numbers in wrestling
And you're
too.
saying the wrestling that we
And-
hired
and-
someone that was at Black Horse Pike.
Anytime you have a sport, whether it's girls or boys, I do think a head and assistant is necessary just to keep it, because, you know, there's illnesses and different
Right.
things, and just, you know, safety and control
Safety is
of
my main
everything.
concern about that.
I agree.
so, Okay. I'm done on this one. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I just want a clarification on 6.6E, the two professional developments that were canceled. Just, we're gonna vote on them, or this is amended?
I think we said just.
Mrs. Morgan, are you certain if it's, I would just recommend the board
I don't see
approve it, because you have approved multiple things in the past, and we find out, you know, a week later it's been canceled and we never bring it back to the board. So I would just leave it as is.
Okay, thank you.
Easy, right?
Okay, that's fine.
Any other questions? May I have a roll call, please?
Yes. Mrs. Gill,
Yes.
Ms. Lipscomb,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell,
Yes.
Mrs. Reese,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Marks.
Yes. We'll move on to the report of the business administrator.
I'd like to consent vote on item 7.1 through item 7.7B.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
During the discussion.
Any questions?
I do. I would like to table 7.6 buildings and grounds. I'd like to table the playground. That's going to be installed at James W. Lilly. I believe we need to look further into that. I know Mrs. Hendry just brought things up that other schools don't have a playground. I think it's a liability in certain instances, and I think the board needs to do more homework on the playground. Or if we can maybe get Mr. Moore to put that money to something else that maybe they may need there too. So I just want the board, I want to table it. So I don't know if anybody else is in agreement, but I just think there's things that we need to discuss first before we vote on that playground.
Do we have a second?
Second.
She made it.
She didn't move to table.
Oh, did you move to table?
Oh, yeah.
Move
yeah,
to
I
table.
moved to table it.
And Mrs.
Sorry.
Johnson second. You seem all in favor.
So for further
All in favor, roll
information,
call.
Yes, for
Okay.
further information, looking into things, playgrounds have been taken away from schools. There is a big liability with them. We have to look at after hours, the vandalism, how would we enclose it for the kids just to use it during school? So, and it's not that I don't want the kids to have a playground. That's not my reasoning why. I just think that we need to look into more in depth into that playground.
May I have an all in favor of tabling 7.6C? Aye.
Any opposed?
Any opposed?
All right, so that's tabled. Mrs. Gilch, you saw it before. If you have anything else.
Questions?
Oh, yes, on Janice's, yes. Oh, no, that was it. I'm sorry. No, that was it.
Any other
I
questions?
apologize.
Yes, please.
Yes.
On page 24 of the bill list, Johnson Controls, it's $141,000, 142 roughly. ESIP project, what is that?
ESIP.
It's an energy
No, I know
savings
ESIP.
project, started years ago, this is finally closing it out.
Okay, and then pet peeve again. HVAC, we've just paid another salary for a year on repairs. Is there any, I guess the posting is still, it's not,
I mean, we haven't gotten
no responses at all.
qualified
One,
candidates.
One responded, but then you have to look into who responds.
okay.
No.
Would it
Because
be
that-
something that we could refer back to Personnel Committee to relook at the posting and the salary again, because every month we're almost paying a salary.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
Any other questions? May I have a roll call, please? Ellen, you have another question?
I do. On the attachment for the budget calendar, I did pull out last year's budget calendar and realized that the process for December 1st to December 31st of this year, there were 3 things last year. 2 of them were fulfilled in November. So I understand with the changing of the guard that that's probably the reason why the budget process would start with the new. I'm just wondering, especially with the acting, is there going to be any holdup that would prohibit the budget from being done on a timely basis? The short answer is no.
There better, my short answer is there better not be, because that's a deadline.
No, we
That's
certainly have deadlines to meet.
To meet.
So
It's all feasible?
I believe it's feasible.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Yes. Mrs. Gill?
Yes, but I'm voting no on check 127726.
Mrs. Lipscomb?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell?
No on 127726. No on 127920. Abstain on 127755. Yes on the balance.
Mrs. Reese?
I'd like to say no to check number 127726 and yes on the balance.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Abstain from the following checks, please. 011527, 014009, 127684, 127741. Yes on the balance.
Mrs. Johnson?
No on check number 127726. Abstain on check number 127733 and 127838. Yes on the balance.
Mr. Marks?
Yes. We'll move on to old business, Mr. Bildo.
At the old business.
We'll move on to new business.
Can I add something to new business that Mrs. O'Donnell pointed out to me? The minutes. There should be for September 21st was the special meeting, not September.
No.
Okay, you say it. You say
No.
it.
On 4/1, September should have been the 19th. Was Monday night.
19th was Monday.
Yes. So then Kia and I abstained on September 19th.
So Kia,
Kia and
oh,
I,
wait, it's Genesis.
September 19th, we approved last month.
September 20th,
September 20th was the next day.
In the special meeting.
You were there?
that's a
You were
Monday.
there, I wasn't.
The 20th of Monday?
I think it's Tuesday.
No, the 20th is a Tuesday, the 19th is a Monday.
Right, the special meeting was the next night.
Yeah,
That's this one, which should be the 20th.
No, we had regular minutes and executive session minutes on the 21st.
The 21st is a Wednesday. We had our special meeting on Tuesday, the 20th.
Yes, and that shows under 4.2.
Yeah, but we switched it to the 21st when we were voting. So wouldn't this one be the 19th?
We already approved the 19th last
On
month.
the October meeting.
That's the regular
What meeting
meeting.
is the 4.1?
The special meeting that you held on the Tuesday,
That's the 20th.
right?
What was the 19th?
The 19th was the regular meeting that you held on Monday that got approved during the October meeting,
So
correct?
Donald, maybe 4.1 and 4.2 are both September 20th. One's just the regular agenda for that meeting and the other is the executive session. for that same
Yes.
meeting.
Got it. So these are both
For
the
the
20th,
special meeting,
Which
yes.
is a Tuesday, the day after Monday.
which is the
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Got it. Okay, so
Who's
I
on-
do, I,
Who's on first?
so I am not abstaining on September 20th
All right,
or
switch-
September 19th.
Switch it to a yes.
So I'm a yes on both of those.
I got you.
Lord save me. Thank goodness for calendars.
And then you need 9A, B, and C.
All right, Mr. Philadelphia, your turn on new business.
Yes, sir. So under new business, let me repeat it, under I'm just going to 9.0, I'll just call it A, approve John Bilodeau to be acting BA effective December 1st, so the interim business officials can take over. And then for 9.0 B would be to approve Kathy Forsythe as interim BA at a rate of $62.50 per hour effective December 1st, 22. But it is subject, that start date, until we receive all required paperwork and county office approvals. 9.0 C would be to approve Gene Grubb as an interim business official at a rate of $62.50 per hour. And again, that would be effective 12/1, but really wouldn't start until all fingerprinting and required paperwork and county office approvals are received. So you would need a motion.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
second,
And this is a roll call.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Katina? Yes. Mrs. Jones?
yes.
Mrs. Lipscomb?
Yes,
Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Reese?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Morris?
Yes. We'll move on to public comments. Yes.
You know, have to start it off. So I had a unique experience, this election day. I was actually at Lilly, from 12 to 8. And because I found out that it was actually a polling site, and school was in session. As I was there was about 3, maybe 4 classes that would cross from the building to the parking lot to their recess or yard area. All in while there is voting going on. I'm not a fear monger, but I am a mom of 3. Having schools open during election day and having children outside while there is public there is open gate. You could easily play duck hunt. And I don't want any child or any parent or any teacher having to go through that possible tragedy. Like I said, I'm not a fear monger, but it opens it up for liability. Easily, yes, when you go in, there was a gate. There was a gate, so you couldn't access easily through the school unless if you're the Hulk. right? But who's to say some bad person or persons could come in and seriously ruins somebody's life? I urge the board to kindly take into consideration that election day would be a day off, or we do not allow our schools to be polling sites. I thank you.
Mrs. Henry, I'm sorry, what was the last end of your statement?
Does not allow them to be polling locations.
Yes, or close schools.
I totally agree with you.
Yes, we agreed once. I wish you
Please,
could.
please record that.
It's on tape.
Tape, Tina.
Mrs. Henry, about 19 years ago, when I came to the district, polling places were in 8 or 9 of the buildings. And I was even then aghast. And I have chipped away at it. I haven't gotten it all done. But
What do you need from the public to help you do this? Because
pressure.
I
Pressure on the county board of elections,
Yeah,
because
they
they
set them.
are the prevailing body. I don't want to shut school down. But at
You
the
don't want
same
the
token, what I really want is election sites to be in some other suitable location. We have tough, I don't know if we can't find a spot for St. Charles Lewis, but certainly the south end is must be an Achilles for the county board of election, because we have 2 sites down south. And I have asked and gone to battle, and I've
not
gotten.
even such a tragedy, even like.
Anything.
You're whipping in, because
yeah.
we're just so excited to vote, like, you're whipping in and they could seriously hit a kid.
I just,
Yeah.
listen.
Voting in schools
I just
don't
don't want voters in my building, our buildings, when there's voting, and I think we need to bear pressure on the county board of elections and see if they can find an alternative spot.
All right, you know.
Okay?
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes.
Yes, Peter Heinball, Secretary. By the way, the county board of elections just held their monthly public meeting this afternoon, so if you want to bring up the concerns at a public meeting, yeah, there's another month to wait, right? They have email addresses, they can send things anytime. But my question was regarding the Johnson Control-led ESIP project that was just mentioned. So that's been finalized now, that energy project is finalized now? Is that what we just heard?
Yes.
Has there been a final report presented to the board? Or if those are planning to be one?
That's a good question, Mr. Einbaum. Welcome, by the way. The ESIP, I guess, Mrs. Krause, you can correct me. Now that it's been finalized, there's energy audit that they conduct over the next, I think, like 24 months. And they assess what they have done in regards to installing all these different devices, like where we were and where we're going to be in regard to garnered efficiencies. They are responsible under that contract to produce that report, but it's just beginning. It may be many months before they give one to us.
It is for the next 3 years, they'll have to audit the data to make sure that they've met the savings that they initially set out to achieve. And then they'll issue a report each time they do that audit.
Thank you. I remember this program, kickoff of this program, it was pre-pandemic. So I imagine the pandemic through the plan, the original plan is kind of upside down. Is that, was the project amended along the way, or delayed, or timelines changed?
All the above. All the above. But in regard, honestly, when we had buildings shut down, it was really advantageous for the contractor to get into the schools unencumbered and make headway on certain projects. So, I think that in the tail end, it became more of obtaining the items, like, we hear the supply chain thing. So, and then the latest delays were just, punch list items to make sure that what we as a district paid for, they delivered.
Also, I imagine with some of these energy improvements being installed during a shutdown, performing these measurements, comparing the old cost pre-improvement to the new cost, that sounds like it's not gonna be easy to really get a clean number for that either.
I think that would be safe to say, and again, I think that they're going to not so much look at cost per se, but look at, say, kilowatt burn to kilowatt burn and say the same light fixture. I'm being very elementary here, because if you look at cost with inflation,
Yeah,
yes, sir.
everything's good, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Mr. Phillips?
Tonight on 6.6J, you approved Mr. Carmichael here to be the vice principal at Area Elementary.
Yes.
Again, phenomenal candidate, excellent coworker, will do a phenomenal job as administrator. May I be the first to congratulate you.
Mr. Carmichael, stand and be recognized. Congratulations.
However, he is my inclusion teacher that I work with on a daily basis. It took you 3 people to replace Janice. What's it gonna take to replace Jimmy? We're gonna have Mr. Orlando, Mr. Mercado's gonna be scratching his head. Because he's a phenomenal educator as well, and at Gloucester Township, we've lost a great teacher, but you got a phenomenal vice principal.
Yeah,
Very nice.
I agree.
Very nice.
All right, congratulations. Mr. Michael.
It took 3 people, it took 3 positions, to take Janice's position, one position.
That's not true.
No.
Well, they're active.
Wait, there's more than one acting, there's 3 acting.
Name and address.
No.
Name and address, please.
Can you explain what?
Can you give me your name and address, please?
Oh, Barbara, D17 is the.
Can you explain how to replace it?
Sure. Under the law, school district needs to have a licensed business official. And so Mrs. Gracia is leaving the district on November 30th, and we have to have someone of record. Board of Education has gone through a process of finding someone interim, basically on a part-time basis until a full-time business administrator is appointed. So there are retired business officials that still have a license that will come in and kind of hold everything together in a temporary setting. And these 2 people happen to be former employees of the district and are familiar with it. But because we're bringing them back into the district, fingerprinting contracts that the county has to look at, different processes are delaying them coming in on December 1st. So they still, meaning the state still wants to know who can answer a question or who on paper. So tonight, the board also, I have a license to do that. So
Which I would make you the 3rd.
that would make me the 3rd in but not all 3 of us are working at the same exact time to do the work that this is.
So are you getting a salary for doing a separate salary?
No, but we could revisit that. The board could certainly, no, not.
Our replacement assistant isn't starting until the end of December, and she's leaving in November, so we have to have somebody come in the interim to help with those 2 spots, is a short version.
All right, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions?
It's a shame, Janice, that you're leaving, you know. Yeah.
Come on.
It's a shame that you're leaving. Sorely missed.
Ms. Rodriguez, your turn. There you go.
Gina Rodriguez, President of the Board of here. Just wanted to give everybody a heads up that we did have our meeting on the 7th, with Mr. Villadone, Mr. Petro, a couple board members, Mark. There we go. Angel supposedly, and I believe I have it at home, sent a letter to Mr. Villadone on Friday, so we're waiting for response on that. Hopefully we will make some progress. But I have to say, I'm sorry that I think if this was discussed over the summer when it was first brought to my attention and everybody else's attention in July, probably been resolved before September, before we started school. I mean, because last board meeting was ugly. It was ugly. I mean, I sat here and listened to things that I was biting my tongue and I couldn't say anything about, but I had people thinking that I don't have their backs, and I do have their backs, and I'm gonna try to get them whatever they have coming to them. But I also represent another 6 groups in the association, so can't forget about those people either. But I just wanted to let you guys know that we did have our meeting on the 7th. Angel submitted a letter to Mr. Villadell on the 18th, which was Friday, and we'll wait to hear back from you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? Yes, ma'am.
Barbara D. Sabatino in Citrusville. I have a comment concerning the situation with bus drivers. So it happened in the summer. Everybody has a different story about what went on until now. There's nothing on the agenda about what's going on. There's what happened. You know, we had our last meeting. Mr. Villaggio was not here. It was discussed. Then there was a separate meeting. Now a letter was sent, like, we're not really allowed to know everything that's going on, which is fine, but now it's Thanksgiving and there's no response from the letter. Next it'll be Christmas. I mean, something needs to be done. Mr. Villaggio, in our contract, it states if there's an emergency, you are able to make a decision, correct?
Yes.
Yes, well, this is an emergency because I understand everything that's going on with the union, the association, not having our backs. I'm not opposed or disagreeing with any of that. Right now, the emergency is that you are losing bus drivers. Pretty soon, you're not going to have bus drivers picking these children up. The contracted bus drivers are not willing to continue to work the way that it is. Now, I understand that the association has a lot of people in there, but this is an emergency. You made it, you, the board, however, I don't want to phrase anything wrong, made an offer that you felt that the bus driver should get a $5 raise. Is that correct?
We can't talk about the labor negotiations in public.
Yeah, I'm not talking about labor negotiations. I'm talking about what was said at the very beginning. I'm not talking about any of your negotiations.
We would consider that labor negotiations, what you just mentioned, so we cannot and will not discuss that in public.
So you won't discuss what was offered to us at the very beginning,
No.
even though that's not in the labor
We're
Still
it's still under terms and conditions of employment. We cannot discuss that as a board publicly.
Okay, so my question is, since it's an emergency, you having bus drivers, why isn't Mr. Villaggio, the board, able to make a decision as to what they're going to do for us? Then the association and the president and the union can decide and work together what they want for the other people. Why can't you make a decision and get something done for us, the bus drivers? Really, you made a nice decision for the
I think that's something we're going to
the
research.
sub
a
bus
little more,
drivers.
advisement, right?
You made a nice decision and gave the subs a nice raise and an added raise after
Again.
25 hours. Again, we have still, because of a union, have gotten nothing, and this is an emergency. You're gonna lose everybody. Nobody's coming here under contract. So why can't you make a decision to do what you need to do for us, whatever was offered at the beginning, and make this a job where we all still want to work here? We don't want people to leave. We don't want people to retire early. And we want to continue the way it's been. You know, we're all working for the children. I don't believe there's really any other department that is this drastically underpaid. I don't believe there's any department that is going to constantly lose people. I don't believe there's another department that I'm sorry.
Ms. Dustin, we will take it under advisement and consideration.
You will take what under advisement?
What you just, everything
You just said.
What, no, I'm asking you what you're going to take under, nobody wrote anything down, so I'm asking what you're gonna take under advisement.
Mr. Ron, go
Yeah,
ahead.
sure. The emergency powers that you mentioned,
Yeah,
Mr. Bilodeau will take that under advisement.
the emergency power in order to provide us with the bonus or raise, whatever you wanna call it.
Yes, what your recommendation, what you suggested during the public session just now that's what we'll take under advisement. But again, that's nothing that we can comment on publicly at this
Okay,
point.
so
But we gotta,
Thank you.
when will you?
Thank you.
When is there like going to be something said?
We-
so
we don't
We'll
have
take
a
that answer right now.
time frame.
I'm sorry?
We can't have a time frame sitting here right now.
No, you can't, like, is it at the next board meeting, or you having a separate board
We're
meeting?
not, we can't answer as a time frame.
We'll take it under consideration. Thank you. Any other comments? I see none. We'll move on to board member comments.
I do. Mrs.
Kevin
Gracia,
Johnson.
good luck in your new venture, and thank you for all your work here. Congratulations, Mr. Carmichael, and welcome. Congratulations to Mrs. O'Donnell for her reelection. To Mr. Gibbons, back there. So welcome. That's it.
Any other comments?
I have several now. So Mr. Bilodeau, when staff is answering questions from the back of the room, can we have them move up to the front? Because as I watch the videos back, we can't hear them on the video. So I think I requested once, I'm gonna request it again,
Okay.
that if they're answering from the back of the room, that they just move towards the board and the microphone so we can hear them. That's the point of that. To the drivers, we cannot discuss anything about negotiations. You guys brought up the $5 at the last meeting and discussed that. We did not and cannot talk about that. So that's why that conversation stopped, because we can't talk about it in public where you guys brought it up. You can talk about whatever you want. We cannot. Mr. Long and I have been back and forth. We told you that we want to hear what you say, right? We're trying to make that happen. Mr. Long is writing up the parameters.
We'll call it a means to open communication.
Yeah, like some kind of parameters that we all have to follow to be able to sit down and have conversations. And I look forward to that moving forward. I've emailed him several times and I'm shoving that along. So hopefully you'll hear some things about that.
It's nice to know.
Yes, hopefully you'll hear things
We're
about that
shoving it along
soon.
together.
Mr. Wall, we're very close with that too, correct?
We're
Getting close with that. We're getting close. So you guys should hear something soon about meeting with the transportation committee. And hopefully we can all get together and have conversations. So that's happening. I wanted to say that I went to the veterans ceremony at Glen Landing. It's the first time I did it in 6 years. I'm so glad that I did it. It was a really, really, really great ceremony. And although the vets were awesome and they're heroes, the preschool stole the show. Just saying. They all made this big, huge wreath with their little hands, and it was all red, white, and blue. And they make, like, different kids make decorations every year and they bring them all back. So even, I don't know how old these rocks are, but the kids painted rocks and they were on every table. But from what I heard, they didn't have this ceremony for 2 or 3 years. So there was, they're storing rocks to bring them back out, but it was really adorable. And I also wanted to thank Ms. Gracia for your service to the district. I do appreciate it. And I will use your minutes as an example for every other BA that comes in here. Will have to live up to that standard because your minutes are on point. Perfect, awesome. I appreciate them. So thank you very much.
Any other comments?
I do.
Yes.
I also had the pleasure of going to Glen Landing for the veterans. I didn't make it to the opening ceremonies, but I was able to go around to the classrooms and to listen to the vets that went in and talk to the children. It was very moving. It's a great program that they do, and I hope that they continue it. And like Jen said, it hasn't been done. And they did it Zoom, I think, or they did it somehow, but it's just not the same effect that it has on the kids when they hear the veterans talk about their time in war, or so it was nice. Janice, I'd like to thank you too for all your service, and You'll be missed.
Absolutely. I just want to piggyback off of what Linda just said. I was able to attend the Glen Landing Veterans Service. It was, what I did get to see was amazing. I enjoyed it. I think it was something that was absolutely beneficial for our students to be able to see and to be able to hear the stories of those veterans and those who have served our country, and to interact with them. So kudos, I'm glad we're able to get back to the in-person activities such as that. I look forward to more. Mr. Carmichael, welcome. And I think, yeah, that's it. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Please.
Yes.
Three things, briefly. I represented the district on Saturday morning at the New Jersey School Board's Delegate Assembly. Normally I would inform the board, but there were no resolutions that were moved forward. It was just a reaffirmation of certain sections of policy. So there's nothing new to report on that level. Janice, I would like to thank you very much for your leadership over the years and your guidance on Finance Committee. You enlightened me, and I'd like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Sure. In late 2021, the pandemic issues that plagued the previous 2 years subsided, and I felt like we could finally focus on student achievement, which is my primary focus and purpose for being here. Looking at what little data that we actually had, it became blatantly obvious to anyone not actively seeking ignorance that students across this district do not receive a consistent education. At the end of last year, half of our students were performing below the state standard. As of this year, we have a 26-point gap in reading and a 31-point gap between our best performing schools and our least performing schools. And across grades, we rarely have more than 1 or 2 schools with proficiency rates higher than the state average. We have double-digit gaps in outcomes in reading between students of different racial subgroups. Economically disadvantaged students are consistently performing 20 to 30% lower than their counterparts. At the beginning of this year, I asked privately and publicly for support in meeting these challenges, and I want to thank Ellen Reese and Tim Tro for taking steps to improve student outcomes. This board has talked all year long about creating a new district goal to do so. We currently have 0 active goals and only 1 in the last 3 years. Just last month, Mr. Tro included this goal, which he wrote in his summarized plan to improve district-wide student performance. Thus, it is so disappointing and frankly inexcusable that the board president has chosen not to allow a discussion or a vote on the district goal to meet this challenge head on. I asked Mr. Marks in writing 2 weeks ago to add that drafted board goal to address student achievement disparity to tonight's agenda. Mr. Marks chose to deny that request on the basis that the Board of Education is in a lame duck session. I find his reasoning incorrect, illogical, short-sighted, and disingenuous given his delay in my reply and his lack of response to me thereafter.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes,
real quick, we don't attack each other in the board
Yeah.
member comments, and that's always been our policy.
I won't
so-
do that anymore. In tonight's agenda alone, this board has taken numerous actions of significance and permanence to the district. We've encumbered the 2023 board with a plumbing contract with 10% markups for the year. We've approved transportation contracts with potential to cost the district upwards of $130,000. We forced next year's board into a specific budget preparation calendar, and potentially most impactful to students, approved a, by all accounts, wonderful new assistant principal to one of our schools. And it's amazing what you can do in a lame duck session. I find it really disheartening that this board, whose administration has asked us for support in this effort, will not act tonight. And since I won't be returning to this next year to this body, I can only make one recommendation to the next board. Please take up this district goal at the earliest possible moment, because it seems clear that we will not be able to do it this year. There is hard work that needs to be done, and this administration will need this body's full support to make change. Student achievement is the most important reason for this body's existence, because if you're not here for that, why are you here? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I do. I didn't, but now I do. First, I'd like to say congratulations to Mr. Carmichael. I don't even know where to start. I'm probably more aggravated at Mr. Wilson's statement.
Well, hang on, same rule to him.
Okay, well,
applies to
that's
you.
fine.
Yep.
I don't believe that we should be physically attacking other board members. I think Mr. Marks has done a good job in his role. Goals, it's my understanding, are set by the entire board, and the goals that are being referred to haven't been discussed with the entire board, and I think the entire board would need to review them before they're put forth for the district. Also, I don't know why we would be saying that some kids receive better education in some sections of town than other sections. I think all of our staff do an amazing job. And I don't think that selective education for certain classes of kids is something as a board that we should be doing. I think that every board member is here for every student in the district, every staff member in the district, not a certain majority. So.
Thank you. Any other comments? No. Well, guys, we got a big holiday coming up this Thursday. Take a little advice, eat as much as you can. Nobody will judge you. Enjoy your holiday. Thank you for coming. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Good night.
I forgot to pay it.